Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch Want, and thanks for logging on. Well, Paneristi, I've got a real treat for you today because this is one rare and refined beast. You're looking at the Panerai Radiomir Tourbillon GMT Titanio PAM 315, 48 millimeters with a brushed titanium case, polished titanium bezel. This is one of 125 and only 125 built for the 2008 Special Series. This is a real celebration of high horology and Panerai heritage. And you can see right off the bat, there's no dead giveaway that this is a tourbillon. I'll show you how Panerai incorporates a uniquely Firenze take on horology's most celebrated complication. But first, the fit. Now my wrist is 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters, and you can see, even with that rather small circumference, the watch fits comfortably. It is 48 millimeters, but it's only 48 millimeters, in as much as the lugs are the traditional wire loop style, and they really don't project that far beyond the case. So even though the watch is huge by measurement, it's relatively compact in real ergonomic terms. And you can also see that because it is basically just that classical cushion case, it might even wear a little bit smaller from an ergonomic standpoint than a 47 millimeter Radiomir 1940 case. Very comfortable. The fact that it is titanium means that it's even lighter on the wrist than a conventional Panerai Radiomir in steel. And I have to say that the impression is really of a much smaller watch, really 42, 44 millimeters in steel rather than almost 50. Very light, very comfortable, an ergonomic winner no matter how small your wrist, really. And another nice feature is that even though it is a very thick timepiece, 16.5 millimeters from sapphire to sapphire, the bottom line is that it has a lot of curvature from the top of the curved sapphire to the edge of the convex bezel, and then the pronounced tumble home, the slope of the side of the Radiomir case. That'll give most tighter cuffs, even dress cuffs, a running start to slide up and over it. And because it is a fairly refined take on Panerai design, it will complement a formal dress ensemble better than most bulky 1950 Betterini case and 1940 case Panerai timepieces. So this will work with a suit provided you aren't using the absolute tightest of tight cuffs. Now I'm going to call out the quality of the strap because it's definitely a cut above. Like everything else on a Panerai tourbillon watch, the hand finish, the quality of the materials, the feel on the wrist is just a bit better. And Panerai's standard is already a very high one. You can see the slightly off-white ecru contrasting stitch in a deep dark brown rectangular scale alligator, brown calfskin leather on the bottom. It's very supple against the wrist, but it's the case itself, beautifully contoured and comfortable, discreetly finished with a brushed titanium that has a matte look to it. Only the bezel itself in high polish is just a little bit extrovert, just a little bit outgoing, just to announce what lies within is very special, but in subtle fashion. And what lies within is special because you can see a feature that's retained for only a couple of very limited edition, very special Panerai models, and that's the knurled rose gold chapter ring that runs around the inside of the bezel and the outer circumference of the dial itself. It might be hard to see on the iPhone, but you can see it in high resolution images. Here you can get the light catching it on our website, Watch You Want. Rose gold and knurled running around the entire circumference of this gorgeous matte tobacco dial. And the combination of the rose gold chapter ring, the rose gold hands, and the matte tobacco sandwich dial is quite gorgeous. This watch is large, but it's also beautifully detailed. It is restrained in its way. It could have been a lot more outgoing, a lot more bombastic. Panerai keeps it upscale, and the look is stunning. It is the upscale features, the rose gold, the polish on the rose gold hands, the quality of the cutouts, and the tolerances of the individual apertures on the sandwich dial that set this watch apart, that declare it in their subtle way as a true high horology item. Now the watch is more than a tourbillon, it is also a dual time, so it has a second independent time zone. Right now I've superimposed the local hour hand over the reference hour hand to show how you can clean up the dial if you so choose. So you can have the watch read as a conventional two-hand, center-mounted hand watch with hours and minutes, but then you can deploy that reference time when you want it, so you have that extra functionality. There is a 24-hour AM/PM indicator right here at 3 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock there's a compound subdial that serves two purposes. First, constant seconds, and the secondary function is delightful, and it shows the double speed tourbillon. There's actually a disc moving at twice the speed of the seconds hand, making 2 circuits. There you go, now you can see it better. 2 circuits per minute. So for each circuit of the seconds hand, 2 circuits of that little jumping dot that represents the progress of the tourbillon on the case back. Now I know I've gotten this far, I haven't shown you the goods. You want to see it? Get an eyeful. Panerai's caliber 2005, all in-house. This movement, quite frankly, makes me hungry. There are those who call it the rotisserie chicken tourbillon because of the way the tourbillon, suspended on both sides, moves essentially perpendicular to the direction of travel of the balance, turning almost like a chicken on a spit. Moreover, it sounds like steak sizzling on the grill or crackling bacon. It has a very pronounced cogging ring to it. You can hear the tick of the 4 Hertz escapement, but you can also hear a secondary heartbeat, which consists of the cogs that are actually moving the tourbillon around this little golden ring off to the side. There's a pinion running off the escapement wheel that actually drives the entire assembly through an internal series of teeth on the inside of this ring. So it's actually propelling itself in circles, making 30-second rotations as opposed to 60-second. The idea being that by rotating the tourbillon on an inclined plane that's ever-changing, rather than simply parallel to the direction of the balance, you're recapturing some of the regulating and equalizing influence of the original pocket watch tourbillon movements. So while the tourbillon was originally intended to improve the accuracy of pocket watches, the fact that wristwatches move around all the time rather than sitting in one orientation negates some of the effects, the equalizing effects of tourbillons on rate deviation. Panerai recaptures that by rotating the tourbillon in unconventional fashion, much like the Jaeger-LeCoultre gyro tourbillon, Thomas Pressure's triaxial tourbillon, Grubel Force's 30-degree tourbillon. It's an unconventional modern take designed to recapture the historical purpose of the tourbillon, which is to increase accuracy. But there's a lot more going on in terms of complication. You have 2 time zones on the front, you have a tourbillon on the case back. You also have a 6-day power reserve. Thanks to 3 mainspring barrels, despite the phenomenal power consumption of this unconventional tourbillon and the 2 time zones, the watch can run independently of any kind of user influence for 6 days when fully wound. This is nice because even though this is a 100-meter rated modern sports watch, very versatile, rugged in a base metal titanium that wears well daily, chances are it's not going to be a daily wearer, even though if you do wear this daily, quite frankly, you're the man. The bottom line is this watch is probably going to be in part of a rotation in a collector's watch box, so the 6-day power reserve prevents you from having to reset the 2 independent time zones, and I like that. Just like the tourbillon itself, it's an upscale refinement that really makes its presence known and its value count. But there's more going on here than just complication. There is finish, and I want to emphasize that the Panerai tourbillon watches, the caliber 2005 in-house movements, like the rest of the watch, are finished to a much higher standard, and that's most evident in the handsome screw heads, in the quality, the size, and the shine of the anglage, in the jewel sinks. With conventional Panerai finish, even on the in-house movements, there is a great deal of machine finish. Well done, very precise, and to a high standard, but nevertheless there's less hand involvement than you'll see on pieces that are quite frankly priced at the 6-figure mark and above in the high horology sector. But with this watch, you get that level of finish. You get the hand anglage that is mirror shine, that has actual radius to it rather than just a straight angle cut down from the tops of the bridge to the flanks of the bridge. The detailing is exquisite, and the handwork continues in all of the jewel sinks, which feature the same beautiful mirror shine, and on the tourbillon cage elements themselves. So the finish here is definitely a cut above and worthy of the price and positioning of this PAM 315. I want to call out one more important feature here, which is the mirror beneath the tourbillon itself that gives you a better view of the mechanism, both in its reflection and in the light that is reflected up to illuminate it. It's a great way of exhibiting the watch's signature refinement, and inasmuch as Panerai has employed a very discreet treatment of the tourbillon, when you do turn it over to enjoy the goods, you get a great view of it. Fantastic illumination, fantastic reflection, all aspect visibility. It's a clever final touch to make the most of the way Panerai has decided to preserve its essential look and keep the complication discreet. There when you want it, not when you don't. This watch is a gem in so many ways. It's true to Panerai's heritage. It keeps the complications discreet, the hidden second time zone, the hidden case-back power reserve, the hidden case-back tourbillon. You get everything that is signature to Panerai, including the do-it-yourself screw-fixed removable wire loop lugs so you can swap onto aftermarket straps or Panerai factory accessories. This PAM 315 gives you everything, the best of both worlds. Sports watch durability and wearability, fashion versatility, it can go with casual or formal attire. It gives you complication, but also the classic Panerai look. In so many ways, the Panerai Radiomir Tourbillon GMT Titanio PAM 315, 48mm in brushed titanium, is the best of both worlds, or maybe more. See it on our website, Watch You Want.